Built to Create Value, a practical guide to developing the mindset, character, and skills of a successful entrepreneur. YouTube audiobook, Session 08. Understanding the Entrepreneur. Welcome to Built to Create Value, a practical guide to developing the mindset, character, and skills of a successful entrepreneur, written by Daniel Eremesele. This is Session 8, Understanding the Entrepreneur. In our previous session, we looked at developing strong personal and business ethics. We established that ethics are the standards that help us translate our values into behavior. We saw that trust, honesty, accountability, responsibility, fairness, and integrity are not optional extras in business. They are part of the foundation of sustainable success. Now we move into a new stage of this journey. We are going to look directly at the entrepreneur. Who is an entrepreneur? What does an entrepreneur really do? What separates entrepreneurial thinking from ordinary activity? And why is entrepreneurship about much more than simply owning a business? An entrepreneur is not just someone who sells something. An entrepreneur is not just someone who registers a company. An entrepreneur is not just someone who wants to make money. An entrepreneur is someone who recognizes opportunity, organizes resources, accepts responsibility, solves problems, and creates value. That is the heart of entrepreneurship. WHO is an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is a person who identifies a need, recognizes an opportunity, organizes resources, creates a solution, and accepts responsibility for the risks and results involved. The entrepreneur is a builder, a creator, a problem solver, a decision maker, a learner, a risk manager, and, over time, often a leader of people and systems. The entrepreneur sees something that can be improved and asks, "What can I do about this?" They see a need and ask, "How can I meet it?" They see a gap and ask, "What can I build here?" They see a problem and ask, "What solution can I create?" This is why entrepreneurship begins with observation. Before you can create value, you must learn to notice where value is needed. Entrepreneurs see opportunity where others see only problems. Many people see inconvenience and complain. The entrepreneur looks at the same inconvenience and begins to think, "Why is this difficult? Why does this take so long? Why is this service poor? Why is this product unavailable? Why are people frustrated? Could this be done differently? Could it be done better? Could it be made cheaper? Could it be made faster? Could it be made more convenient? Could it be made more accessible?" Problems often contain clues. The entrepreneur trains his or her mind to look for possibility inside difficulty. This does not mean every problem should become a business, but it does mean that every problem deserves observation. Many successful enterprises begin because someone recognized a frustration that other people had accepted as normal. The entrepreneur creates value. Entrepreneurship is fundamentally about value creation. This is one of the strongest ideas in this entire book. People do not pay businesses simply because those businesses exist. They pay because they believe something valuable is being provided. The value may be a product, a service, convenience, speed, knowledge, comfort, entertainment, safety, access, efficiency, clarity, or a better experience. The entrepreneur must therefore ask, what is the customer receiving? Why does it matter? What problem does it solve? What result does it create? Why should someone pay for it? The stronger your answer to these questions, the stronger your business foundation becomes. An entrepreneur organizes resources. Most entrepreneurs do not begin with everything they need. They begin with something. Perhaps it is an idea. Perhaps it is a skill. Perhaps it is a small amount of money. Perhaps it is a relationship. Perhaps it is access to technology. Perhaps it is experience. Perhaps it is time. Perhaps it is knowledge. Entrepreneurship is partly the ability to organize resources intelligently. This is very important. Some people believe they cannot begin because they do not have enough capital. But money is only one form of capital. You also have knowledge capital, relationship capital, skill capital, experience capital, time capital, creative capital, and sometimes reputation capital. The entrepreneur learns to ask, what do I already have? What can I do with it? What is missing? How can I acquire what is missing? Who can help? What can be tested on a small scale? This way of thinking turns limitation into a problem to solve rather than a permanent excuse. Entrepreneurs take responsibility. One of the strongest characteristics of entrepreneurship is responsibility. When you become an entrepreneur, many decisions come back to you. You decide what market to enter. You decide what price to charge. You decide what standards to maintain. You decide how money is managed. You decide how customers are treated. You decide whether to keep learning. You decide whether to correct mistakes. You decide whether to build systems. You decide whether to act ethically. This responsibility can be uncomfortable, but it is also empowering. Because when you accept responsibility, you stop waiting for everyone else to solve your problems. You begin asking, what can I do differently? What can I improve? What can I learn? What decision do I need to make? Responsibility moves you from blame into action. Entrepreneurship involves risk. Every business involves uncertainty. You may invest and not receive the result you expected. You may create a product that customers do not accept. You may enter a market that changes. You may employ someone who does not perform well. You may lose a customer. You may misjudge demand. You may experience economic pressure. This is why entrepreneurship involves risk. But there is an important distinction. Entrepreneurship is not recklessness. Risk should be understood, managed, calculated, reduced where possible. A wise entrepreneur asks, what could go wrong? What is the likely impact? How much can I afford to lose? Can I test this idea before making a large commitment? Can I insure against certain risks? Can I diversify? Can I gather more information before deciding? Courage in business is not ignoring danger. It is acting responsibly despite uncertainty. Entrepreneurs learn to make decisions. Business constantly requires decisions. Some decisions are small, some are expensive, some affect customers, some affect employees, some affect the future direction of the organization. Indecision can become costly, but rushed decisions can also become costly. The entrepreneur must learn how to gather relevant information, evaluate options, consider consequences, and make a decision. You will not always have perfect information. That is part of entrepreneurship. The goal is not perfect certainty. The goal is sound judgment. And judgment develops through learning, experience, reflection, and accountability. The entrepreneur is a problem solver. A strong entrepreneur becomes known for solving problems. Customers remember businesses that make life easier. They remember the person who responds quickly. They remember the business that finds a solution when something goes wrong. They remember the company that listens. They remember the person who can simplify complexity. Problem solving increases your value. Ask yourself, what problems do my customers repeatedly face? What complaints appear again and again? What delays occur? What mistakes keep happening? What can be improved? The more effectively you solve meaningful problems, the more useful you become. And usefulness is one of the foundations of value. Entrepreneurs need customers. An idea alone is not a business. A product alone is not a business. A registered company alone is not a business. A business needs customers. This may sound obvious, but many entrepreneurs fall in love with what they want to sell and forget to understand the people who must buy it. You need to know, who is the customer? What do they need? What do they value? What problems are they trying to solve? What alternatives do they already have? What are they willing to pay for? How do they prefer to buy? What makes them trust a business? Customer understanding should shape your decisions. Do not build entirely from assumption. Listen, observe, ask, test, learn. Entrepreneurs must understand the market. The market is the environment in which your business operates. It includes customers, competitors, suppliers, trends, technology, regulation, pricing, and demand. A good entrepreneur does not operate blindly. Study what is happening. What are customers changing? What are competitors improving? What new technologies are appearing? What new expectations are developing? What costs are increasing? What opportunities are emerging? The market does not remain still. Entrepreneurs who stop learning may eventually become irrelevant. Awareness helps you adapt. Entrepreneurs create systems. One of the biggest differences between self-employment and a scalable business is systems. If everything depends on you personally, the business may remain limited by your time and energy. Systems help create consistency. You may need systems for customer inquiries, sales, payments, record keeping, stock, delivery, quality control, staff responsibilities, marketing, complaints, and follow-up. A system is simply a repeatable way of doing something. For example, how do new customers contact you? What happens after they contact you? How is payment recorded? How is the product delivered? How is quality checked? How is feedback collected? The more clearly these processes are defined, the easier it becomes to create consistent results. Systems help turn effort into organization. The entrepreneur must learn to sell. Many people are uncomfortable with the word sales. But entrepreneurship involves selling. You may be selling a product, a service, an idea, a proposal, a partnership, or even confidence in your ability to deliver. Selling does not have to mean manipulation. Ethical selling means understanding needs and communicating value clearly. You should be able to explain what you offer, who it is for, what problem it solves, why it is useful, what makes it different, and what the customer can expect. If people do not understand your value, they may never buy it. Communication is part of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs learn to manage money. Money is the language of business survival. You may have a great idea and strong customer demand, but poor financial management can still destroy the enterprise. Entrepreneurs need to understand revenue, expenses, cash flow, profit, pricing, debt, saving, investment, and financial obligations. You do not need to become a professional accountant, but you must understand enough to make responsible decisions. Know what is coming in. Know what is going out. Know what the business actually earns. Know what obligations are approaching. Know whether growth is affordable. Financial ignorance can become very expensive. Entrepreneurs must manage themselves. Before you manage a business, you must manage yourself. This theme continues throughout Built to Create Value because it is foundational. The entrepreneur needs discipline, focus, time management, emotional control, continuous learning, and the ability to complete difficult tasks. There may be no one standing over you telling you to begin. There may be no one forcing you to follow up. There may be no one checking whether you are wasting time. Self-management is therefore a business skill. The entrepreneur who cannot manage himself or herself will eventually struggle to manage a growing organization. Entrepreneurs must build trust. People do business with people and organizations they trust. Trust comes from repeated experience. Do you deliver what you promise? Do you communicate honestly? Do you correct mistakes? Do you protect customer information? Do you respect deadlines? Do you honor agreements? Trust reduces friction. When people trust you, relationships become stronger. When trust is damaged repeatedly, business becomes difficult. Protect your name. Protect your reputation. Protect the confidence people place in you. Entrepreneurs create employment and opportunity. Entrepreneurship does not only affect the entrepreneur. A growing business can create employment. It can train people. It can support suppliers. It can create opportunities for families. It can bring products and services into communities. It can contribute to economic activity. This means entrepreneurship carries social responsibility. As your business grows, ask, how can this enterprise create more value beyond my own income? Can I train someone? Can I employ someone? Can I improve standards? Can I support other businesses? Can I solve a local problem? Entrepreneurship becomes more meaningful when the value extends beyond the owner. Entrepreneurs must learn to adapt. Markets change. Technology changes. Customer preferences change. Costs change. Competition changes. Methods that worked yesterday may become ineffective tomorrow. A strong entrepreneur is willing to adapt. Adaptation does not mean abandoning your values. It means adjusting your methods when evidence shows that improvement is needed. Perhaps customers want to order online. Perhaps communication needs to become digital. Perhaps the product needs new packaging. Perhaps the service needs to be faster. Perhaps the pricing model needs adjustment. Entrepreneurs must remain teachable. Entrepreneurship is not about doing everything alone. Some entrepreneurs believe independence means doing everything themselves. But there is a limit to one person's capacity. As the business grows, you may need employees, contractors, professional advisors, suppliers, partners, accountants, designers, marketers, or technology providers. A strong entrepreneur learns to build relationships around complementary strengths. You do not lose value because someone else knows something you do not. You increase capacity when the right people contribute. The entrepreneur is always becoming. Entrepreneurship is not a fixed identity. It is a development journey. As the business changes, you must change. The person who can run a one-person operation may not automatically know how to lead 10 employees. The person who manages a small amount of money may need new systems when revenue grows. The person who serves a local customer base may need new knowledge when entering larger markets. You must continually become capable of carrying the next level of responsibility. That is why learning should never stop. Personal reflection and action. Before moving to the next session, take time to examine your own entrepreneurial thinking. Question 1. What problem are you currently solving, or what problem would you like to solve? Describe it clearly. Question 2. Who is the customer or person affected by this problem? Be specific. What do they need? What frustrates them? What result are they looking for? Question 3. What resources do you already possess? List skills, knowledge, experience, relationships, technology, time, money, or other useful resources. Question 4. What resource or competence is currently missing? How can you acquire it? Through learning, partnership, saving, hiring, technology. Question 5. What is one business process that needs to become a system? Perhaps customer inquiries, payments, delivery, follow-up, or record keeping. Write down the current process and how it can be improved. Question 6. Finally ask, am I thinking like someone waiting for opportunity, or like someone learning to create value? Be honest. Choose one action this week that moves you towards stronger entrepreneurial thinking. Closing. Thank you for listening to Session 8 of Built to Create Value, written by Daniel Eramesele. Remember, an entrepreneur is more than a business owner. An entrepreneur is a builder, a problem solver, a learner, a decision maker, a resource organizer, a risk manager, and a creator of value. Learn to observe needs, understand customers, organize resources, build systems, manage money, protect trust, accept responsibility, and continue developing yourself as your enterprise grows. The stronger your capacity becomes, the greater the value you can create. In our next session, we will continue with Session 9, the Intrapreneurial Mindset. We will examine how entrepreneurial thinking can be developed even within an existing organization and how initiative, creativity, responsibility, and problem-solving can make you valuable wherever you work. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, keep solving problems, keep developing your capacity, and keep building your ability to create value. This is Built to Create Value, written by Daniel Eramesele. We sincerely appreciate the time you have spent with us. We look forward to connecting with you again. Until then, remain blessed, continue exploring the treasures God has placed within you, and remember to listen to our other inspirational materials. We would be grateful to receive your feedback and hear how this audiobook has blessed, encouraged, or transformed your life. Please help us to like and subscribe to our channel to help us reach more people, Thank you once again.